For those of you who do not know me, my name is Eli Houston, and after my freshman year of college, my life changed forever when I pursued a self-improvement journey and lost most of my friends that I'd made so far. So this all goes back to when I started college when I was 18, and I had a lot of anxiety about college just in general because I didn't feel like I was confident enough or ready to move away from home as an 18-year-old. I didn't feel like I had enough social skills, and I kind of just felt like really anxious about the whole thing. But I realized that once I got there, freshman year ended up actually being really fun, and I really enjoyed it, and a lot of people I met were really awesome. And I always describe freshman year as the time of my life when I laughed the most and smiled the most and ultimately had the most fun in my life. Those first few months of freshman year were amazing and some of the best memories that I'll ever have in my life, I believe. But then, so I got to college in August of 2022, and then a few months later, in November, I kind of started liking this girl, and she kind of seemed to start liking me back, and things were looking good, and it was really awesome, and it felt great because I felt like I was finding maybe my person at college. A lot of people move to college, and then at college they meet their lifelong partner. I thought that maybe that was happening to me, and I couldn't have been more wrong, because when I started really talking to her, she was talking to me, but it turned into not a relationship, but a situationship. And if you don't know what a situationship is, it's essentially when, the way that I think about it is when you are pursuing somebody, but they keep running away, and occasionally they might turn back at you, stop, let you catch up, but then immediately start running again. And you kind of sometimes feel close to them, think like things are going to start working, but they never actually do because you want somebody and they don't want you back. And that's what was happening. And if you can't tell, I was the one pursuing. And so this happened in November. This situationship started, and it lasted the entire rest of freshman year at college. So, I mean, we made it to May of 2023, so the following year, and I finished freshman year and moved back home for the summer, and we were still talking. I was still freaking talking to this girl who didn't want me for 8 months or something like that. And so then when summer started, after freshman year of college, I actually made plans to go visit her hometown with her. And that was the stupidest thing I've ever done and the best thing I've ever done. Because when I got there and when I left, I actually left her hometown and never spoke to her ever again. And I'll tell you why really quickly. When I got down there to her hometown, I essentially met her family, met some of her friends. We went and did some things. And the whole time, I was just thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing spending time with this girl who doesn't actually want me? What am I doing driving 5 hours to go visit her? And so I texted some of my friends back home, dude, I don't think this situation is for me. Like, I don't think I can keep doing this. But I also, at this time, was so deep into our connection, or what I thought was a connection, because, it'd been 8 months of us talking. And I almost felt like I couldn't break ties because I was, in too deep. And I was texting my friends that, I texted one of my best friends, I kind of feel like I need God to pull me out of this situation because I don't have the strength to do it myself. Later that night, after I sent these text messages, keep in mind, we are not dating. We are not a thing. We are not exclusive. We are just a situationship. Even though because of that, keeping that in mind, she still went through my phone when I was asleep and saw all of those text messages. I woke up to her upset. Her family was upset with me. And it was a terrible feeling and terrible situation, not because I felt bad, because I was speaking my truth in those text messages. But it was just an uncomfortable situation. But I left her house after she was upset and her family was upset with me. And I never spoke to her again, because her going through my phone and seeing all of that was the moment I was like, maybe this is my exit. And it was. And I never spoke to her again. And it's been over 3 years since I've ever talked to her. And so when that happened, it was really difficult, but I immediately realized how stupid I had been for the past 8 months that I had been with her in company, not relationship. And so I realized I need to really freaking grow as a person and change who I am. Not necessarily change who I am, but change some things about me, because I didn't have the self-respect to end things immediately when I saw red flags. And so because of that, I locked in. As corny as that term is, that is literally what I did. And so when I locked in, I remember that when I drove home from her hometown after I was like, this is over. That was June 4th, 2023. And I remember that because the next day was a Monday, and that was the beginning of my lock-in. And so this lock-in consisted of me not going out to parties, not even really hanging out with friends, not really doing anything except work on myself, meaning go to the gym, work on classwork, work on trying to learn how to make money so that I could be financially free and a high value man. It was all about becoming a high value man and gaining a bunch of stuff for validation, almost like money, maybe a really good girlfriend in the future, just things that are external. And that was my big goal for the lock-in, was to be a high value man. That's what I always told myself. And so this lock-in went on for the rest of college. Keep in mind, I started locking in on June 5th, the next day after this breakup, until I graduated 2.5 years later. And this lock-in had a very large long-term effect on me, in that I really did build good habits, but I also was changed forever because of how rigorous it was almost. And it was difficult, and it was tough, because when I was at college, a lot of my friends and people I knew would go out and have fun every Friday night. I would never go out. I never went out. And it was to the point where my roommates never saw me, because I was in my room working all the time. And I did all this because I felt like such a loser after had putting up with some low-value woman for so long and not having had the self-respect that I should have. And so ultimately this lock-in happened, and because I locked in so much and I stopped going out with all these friends that I had made my freshman year, I lost these friendships. A lot of my friendships, almost every friendship I ever made at college my first year, I lost because I locked in and stopped going out to things, and I stayed in my room and worked on myself. And it was tough because I was stressed out all the time. I was honestly overworking myself, and I wasn't going to hangouts or talking to people or even texting people. I was in an extreme amount of isolation and work and a rigorous self-improvement journey. And it was really, really difficult because of all of this stuff that I just mentioned. But I don't have any regrets. And I would do it again. And that's because not only did it change my happiness, like I was definitely less happy overall because of how stressed out I was. And I lost all these friends and stuff, and keeping in mind that all this stuff did happen. But it did help me grow internally as a guy like I wanted to. I built discipline through that rigorous routine. I was going to the gym 6+ times a week. So I got a great physique. And at the end of college, I was basically just very jacked to the point where I make content about it now. And I don't put up with horseshit individuals anymore. Not only because I dealt with a horseshit type of woman, but because I was isolated for so long. So I got used to not dealing with people anyway. So now I've been accustomed to isolation and loneliness. So nowadays I only spend time with people who are high value and who can support me, and I support them, and it's a good relationship. It's not hard for me to cut people off because I did it with so many of my friends when I locked in at the end of freshman year. And so those are just some ways that I've been able to grow internally, not just with external validation. And so I would do it again because of that. And my life changed because of self-improvement. And if you're ever going on some self-improvement journey as well, your life can change too, like it changed mine. And you can change your mindset, your habits, who you put up with, your mindset, I said it already, your discipline, your physique. You can change everything by just putting your head down and focusing for a long period of time. But my advice to you, if you do this, is to not go into a self-improvement journey to focus on external validation like a lot of these bullshit gurus online promote. Do not start a self-improvement journey to make money, get women, or get status externally, because it will not lead to happiness. It will only stress you out like it stressed me out. But you need to go into a self-improvement journey with the goal to grow internally. That is the goal. So the thesis of this video is, do not start a self-improvement journey to gain external validation. Do it to gain internal growth. And it's okay if you lose friends, because the fact that I lost friends when I locked in means that those friends were never real friends, because I didn't lose my best friends when I locked in. My best friends who I had before my lock-in are still my best friends today, and that just goes to show that your real friends will stick with you during any self-improvement lock-in you do. So don't worry about losing your friends, because it means nothing when you lose meaningless people in your life. Make sure that your self-improvement leads to growth internally, and you don't focus on external validation. That's it for this video, and I hope you guys found it valuable, and thank you guys for watching.